Welcome back to the next video. In today's video I will show you how to do GraphQL queries and mutation using the Apollo Kotlin library in native Android application. So first of all, I'll show you this. I have this mutation called add user, and whenever I add a user, so suppose I'll add a user, I don't know, Jitin. I'll keep everything as default. I'll add a user, and if I try to run this, here you can see at the very bottom this user has been added. I think one mistake which I did while designing the backend was whenever I add a user, I'm sending a list of all the users back. I should have sent only one user back, but I think that's fine. And if you try to query those users, you will get the list of all the users. So if I just run this query, here you can see you get list of all the users. So I will show you the demo first as well. So here you can see when I run the application, I have list of all the users. Now if I try to add one user, so I'll just add one user. Okay, I'll click on add user, and hopefully, okay, the user is not added. Okay, I know why. I'll just rerun this application because I'm not updating my list. Let's see if the user gets added once I try to rerun my application, because I'm like I told you, right, there is no subscription thing as such. Okay, so here you can see Akhil was added twice. Let me try once more, because once I add a user, I'm trying to reload, like I'm trying to reassign the entire user list, which is actually a bad practice. But given that I am getting all the users back, once I add one user, I will add one more user. Okay, let's see. Okay, so here you can see Rajan was added. So yeah, let's see how to do this. So getting data inside the list is part of query, but while adding a user and then updating list is part of mutation. So let's see how to do this. So first you will have to go to build.gradle.kts, and here I have added this build script of dependency for Dagger Health. So I'm using Dagger Health for dependency injection. Next, here I'm using this Apollo 3 library. So I'm using this. I think by the time you watch this, Apollo 4 might come out, but I think it's more or less the same. You just have to update the version. I don't think there is any breaking changes. If there are any, do let me know in the comments and I will update this video as well. Then this is for Dagger Hilt, and this is Kotlin kept because KSP is not still stable at the time of this recording. I think they might stabilize it once at the time of Google I/O, I guess. Then this I have just copied it from the docs, but the only thing which you have to change is this package name. So my package name is this, that's why I have updated this. Use your own package name. Next, you will have to add this @hilt. So I have added this Hilt Dagger dependency. I have added Apollo Kotlin as well. Now there is something called normalized cache SQLite as well. So Apollo on behalf of us inserts data inside local database, like for query. I'm not really using it, but I will show you the code. I was facing some issue for cache SQLite, because whenever I was trying to add a new user, even after the app restarts, it was not updating my list. So I will just show you how it is done. Like, my code is not perfect for cache SQLite, that's why I'm not using it, but in future I do plan to make a video on this as well. And here I have taken this lifecycle view model KTX extension, and I require this as well for view model injection inside native Android. Next, if you click on sync now, you will get an error saying that there is no schema present, something like this. So for that, what you will have to do is you will have to run this command. Okay, so run this command inside terminal over here. So just open your terminal and run this command, but this should be your own API endpoint. So my Node.js app is hosted locally on port 4000, that's why I'm using this, and this is where our schemas.graphql file will be downloaded from our server and automatically inserted inside this folder structure. Okay, I'll just comment this out again. Once you run this command, you can go to the project drop down, and here you should see this schemas.graphql file, GraphQLs file. Next, you can click on sync now, and it should be able to download all your dependencies. Once you do that, I have created two GraphQL files, one for add user mutation, so this I have already showed you, and one for get user query, so I have already shown you this. Once you create these two GraphQL files, also one more thing, like it's better to go to settings and add this GraphQL plugin as well, because it will provide type intelligence for GraphQL files. So once you create this get user and add user GraphQL files, what you will have to do is you will have to click on this make module or this build or hammer icon, so that the Apollo Kotlin library will automatically do code generation for you, and you would get type intelligence. So it's better to again click on this make module, so that you get automatic code generation from Apollo Kotlin side. Otherwise you will face lot of issues. Next I have shown you this. Next you will also shown you this. Next you will have to go to Android manifest.xml. I have added the internet permission, and I have also added uses clear text traffic, because my Node.js backend is hosted locally, that's why I've used this. Next I have also referenced our my application package. So if I go to Android drop down, here you can see I have created this at the rate Hilt Android app. So this is required for Hilt, and I have referenced it inside Android manifest.xml file. Okay, I'll close this. I'll close this as well. I'll close this. Next, what you will have to do is I have created a data file called simple user. So this is how the data I get from a single user looks like, from query as well as from mutation, right? That's why I've created this simple user, so that I can automatically map the GraphQL results to this simple user. Then also I have created this user mappers.kt, so this will help us to map us. So you will have to write get users query.user, so whatever is your GraphQL file name followed by whatever is your query, and this name can be anything. Okay, so this you will define, and here I am mapping it to simple user. Similarly for add user mutation as well, again this name can be anything, but this should be auto completed, like you should get IntelliSense, because we have added those GraphQL files and we had built our code, and again I am returning it as a simple user. Next you will have to go to user client, and I have defined an interface, one for getting a user, one for adding a user. And for adding a user it requires an add user input, and so again this is from IntelliSense itself. So if you see over here, you can see add user input, because in the GraphQL file itself we have defined it as an add user input, and here we will get a form of simple users, list of simple users. Next I have what I have done is that I have created this Apollo user client, which extends from user client. So I have overridden all both of those methods, and then I am calling this Apollo client dot query get users query, and then I am calling the execute method. From that we get the data, from that we get the users. Now these are like GraphQL users, right? So we want to map it to our simple users, that's why I have to use this dot map it dot to simple users, and if there is any issue then I'm just returning an empty list. Similarly for add mutation as well, I'm just calling dot mutation over here, then I'm calling add user mutation, then I'm passing input, then I'm calling execute dot data dot add user. Again you get a list of all the users, so I'm just mapping it to our simple user mutation, and if there is an issue then just return an empty list. Once these things are done, what I am doing is I have created a user view model, and it takes a user client, the interface which we have defined, and here I have created two flows, one for users and one for loading, showing the progress bar, and these are the state flows for our users as well as is loading. And as soon as our view model is injected inside main activity, I am calling the user client dot get queries, and I'm changing the value for is loading, and if the data is not empty, I'm just updating our users value, and the loading is set to false. And for adding a user, again view model dot launch, we again take an add user input, and we just call user client dot add user, and if the data is not equal to empty, we are just updating our user. Again this is a bad practice, because I'm again completely redefining our user list, but but I think this is fine for a sample demo. Okay, next So I have shown you user model. I will show you app model now. So here we are using a dependency injection. So this is my singleton. So first I have defined an HTTP client. So if you have a barrier request icon authorization, you can add it over here. I don't have it, so I have commented it out. Next, so I have required this OK HTTP client. Then I am creating this provide Apollo client as well. So here you can see this, like, to be honest with you, I have completely copy pasted this code from the documentation itself. Even I don't really understand, but this is for the normalized cache thing which GraphQL provides, so that all the data is automatically stored inside your local database. And here if you want to apply, you can use something like this. Again, I have commented out. Don't worry about this, like I will tell you about subscription in a different video. And here I have passed our server URL. Now given that I am running it on Android emulator and my Node.js backend is hosted locally, that's why I'm using this. But you can change the domain according to whatever you wish, like. And here I have applied our OK HTTP client, and this I have created Apollo user client singleton as well. So yeah, next so I have shown you my application as well. Next I will go to activity underscore main. So here it has a one progress bar, okay, one edit text for adding your input, for adding the user, button for adding the user as well, and I have taken one recycler view as well for showing the list of all users. Next, inside text row item, which would be part of our each cell of recycler view. So here I have just taken a text view for displaying the name, and this I have just added a horizontal line. Okay, next if you go to custom adapter, so this is how each cell of our recycler view looks like. So it takes a list of simple users. Then I have extending from recycler view dot view holder, and here I'm initializing our text view. And then inside on create view holder, I'm inflating our layout XML files and returning the view holder. And inside on bind view holder, I'm calling view holder dot text view dot text, and here I'm returning the name. And inside get item count, I'm returning the size of our data set. Next, if you go to main activity, so firstly I'm injecting our view model. Also make sure you mark it as @entry point. Also for view model you have to mark it like this, and here we are injecting user client. Okay, and if you go to main activity, we are first injecting our view model. Here I have initialized our progress bar, button, recycler view, edit text, and this is our list of simple users. And this is for adapter. Here we are initializing all this UI elements. Here I am initializing our custom adapter and assigning it to our recycler view. Then here I am actually performing the mutation. So if you see, we are just calling user view model dot add user input, and whatever name you have entered inside the edit text, I am passing it over here. And all these values are hard coded for now, rest of the values. But here if you can see, I have also added this optional dot present as well, because these are optional values, these are not mandatory values. So that's why you can't directly pass comma 3 comma list of Star Wars comma true. You have to write this as well, optional dot present. Next, inside lifecycle scope dot launch, so here I am just collecting all the users which we get, and if the users is not empty, I am clearing it out our list, looping it over, adding it to our user list, and I am notifying our data set changed. If you want to just notify one item at a time, if you are just inserting one item at a time, you can use something like this, but again that's fine. If you want to use live data, I have also shown you live data example as well, but here I am using flow. And for progress bar, I am using live data, but again you can use something like this for your progress bar as well. Progress bars flow, like is loading flow. So yeah, I think that's it. Thank you for watching. Bye.